Hi, in this short video I want to talk about past lives. Now this is quite a hot topic for the main reason that we can't, or the ordinary person can't verify it so easily. Now for most of us, past lives is something that's not true, mainly because we can't remember them. But it's becoming more and more common these days, and I think it has even come into the circles of scientific research that there are people around on this earth that have some recollection of their past lives. It's more common in children than in adults. However, if we think about it, this topic or this issue of having a past life or previous lives, in a very logical manner, I think we'll come to the conclusion that it makes a lot of sense. Some of our religious beliefs may support previous existences, such as Buddhism, Hinduism, but if you're Christian, well, your system of beliefs won't include that of having a past life or previous lives. However, if we put all of that aside and think about it in terms of psychology and in terms of cause and effect, it makes some sense. So this video is going to be talking about why past lives make sense, and a little bit about how we can remember our past lives. Okay, so we are the person that we are because of our past. It's no coincidence, it's no random set of causes or circumstances that has brought us to the way we are, physically, psychologically, etc. Every action, every tendency that we have, every like, every dislike, every acceptance, rejection, has an origin and has a reason for being in us. And sometimes when we try to find the origin of a particular fear, a particular antipathy, a particular deep love, a particular deep affection or liking for something, the origin may not be so obvious. We just may not be able to find a logical, clear, physical, evident explanation for why we like or dislike something so profoundly. So when we review all these things in our psychology, all these things that are in us, the special affinities we have with languages, with different countries, certain antipathies we have with other countries and languages and people and nationalities, etc. Certain aptitudes that we have, certain skills, certain like intuition, certain like innate knowings, innate understandings of things. When we really try to find where they come from, and we may not even be able, we may not be able to find the origin in this life. So then we have to accept something of a past life, something that we've lived in the past, and in that previous life or previous set of lives we developed those skills, that knowledge, that understanding, that liking or that rejection for this or that particular thing. So what's really interesting is that in the past we can find many origin of things, and in our past lies the origin of how we've become who we are, how we've developed our certain strengths, how we've developed certain weaknesses, character flaws, defects, how we've come to know and understand something so deeply, so naturally. The origin of certain ways of acting, behavioural patterns, certain ways of thinking and feeling, it all comes from the past. It all has had some origin in the past. And if it were possible for us to remember to study our past lives, for sure the origin, the events that gave rise to the various tendencies, likings, strengths, weaknesses, character traits, etc. that we have, we would be able to find them. So in the past lies all our secrets. Now we can unlock the keys or the secrets to who we are by seeing the past. So that's why in esotericism, this self-discovery, self-knowledge is not complete without looking into the past. If we want full self-knowledge, we have to look into the past. There's no two ways about it. Basically, the two doors or windows into self-knowledge are the past and the centres of our human machine or of our body. That is, if we observe our mind and our emotions and our actions, we can come to know ourselves very much so, very deeply. So those are the two windows, the past and the centres of our body. That is our mind, or intellect, our emotion and our action. So we can study our behaviour, our thinking, our feeling, but without taking the past into account, we're not really able to know the origin of it, to know the deep why, the deep reason for why we have that certain fear or that certain greed or pride or rejection for something. So the both self-knowledge must develop hand in hand with the self-observation of ourselves now, combined with knowledge of the past. Okay, so the other thing is this law of cause and effect, or karma, and this law of recurrence. So it is quite a commonly understood principle now, is that of karma. Whatever we do, it's like we're writing a check for a future action, for a future event. So if we do things that have a good result, then we can expect like good circumstances, a certain reward, a certain set of good results and circumstances to unfold. If we do actions and produce a negative result, then we can expect to receive negative circumstances and more negative actions and some sort of like debt accrued on our behalf, meaning we owe something, we have to do something to balance out our negative action. So sometimes we come into life with so much like karmic debt, we could say. So many things go wrong, and as much as we look through our current life, we can't find the reason why. We can't find a reason why, even being so brutally honest with ourselves, we can't find a reason why we've deserved this or that to happen to us. And we say, it's said in esotericism, that nothing comes to us by accident, by random, by coincidence. Everything comes to us for a reason. We essentially deserve or what we get. We have worked for it. So then we have to take past lives into account here. If we receive a lot of negative things happen to us and we haven't done anything really to provoke them, then the cause of those things is in the past. So we say in esotericism that the karmic debt, or the debts we have from our past lives, has more priority than the karmic debt from this life. So the karmic debt from past lives is the one that gets paid by us first. So that's why as a child, many people suffer a lot, are sick, spend a lot of time in hospital, have many falls and spills and operations and all that sort of thing when they're a child. So what they're doing there is cancelling the karmic debt from previous lives. So I think another benefit that remembering our past life would bring to us would bring like a certain continuity. See, at that present, not being able to remember our past lives, we're sort of like left with a huge dark lagoon in our mind. Like we know and feel that all these likes, these tendencies, these defects that we have, vices, sins, etc., if you want to call them that, come from somewhere, that, and some of them, okay, were strengthened and created in this life, but definitely not all of them. And there's that gap in our understanding of ourselves, that unknown origin, and that all comes from not being able to remember our past life. It's sort of like there's something broken in us. And what's broken in us is that continuity of remembering from one life to the next, all the way back to the origin. So if we could remember that, our origin, seeing ourselves developing virtues, defects through our past life, previous lives, it would be a totally different human being. Actually, it would be very strange. Who would we really call our parents? We love our parents and we call them our parents so much because they're the only ones we know, but imagine if we could remember all the parents that we've had through all of our lives, it would perhaps feel a little bit differently. We would have a different perspective on life. Okay, so I think this video is going a little bit long now. I will talk about past lives in subsequent videos, but just to keep this short. So I'd just like to end with, I think I've heard, but I haven't seen it myself, I haven't researched it myself, that that of the doctrine of past lives or previous lives was actually part of the Christian faith up until 342 AD, I think it was, in the Second Council of Nicaea, where that was taken out of the Christian faith or Christian doctrine. So given the many religions that do believe in past lives, I think it is worth thinking about it and perhaps accepting, or until you remember one of your past lives, that we do actually have past lives. Okay, so in subsequent videos I'll be talking about the technique of how to remember past lives. Okay, once again, thank you very much for watching and take care. Bye.